Hello everyone, it's Kathy Champion and I am your independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator here in Gastonia, North Carolina, but I service people all over the United States. So if you do not currently have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator and you're interested in any of the products or items that I use during my videos, please click the link below. Or you can email me. My email address is also listed below. And get in touch with me and I'll be more than glad to get you a catalog, walk you through the process, and help you with placing an order if that's what you would like to do. If you just have questions about Stampin' Up!, I'll be glad to answer those as well. Today we are going to be making this really cute little bundle card, but we're going to go about it in a much different way. This is the card. And I love this card. And you're probably thinking, well, how would you ever mail this? Very simple. It opens up like this, and then it folds up like this and like this. And then you can put it in a small envelope. It is a little thick, but I think you probably could get away with, putting it in most any envelope and make it work. But this is so stinking cute. Now I did this one because this is another Dawn Griffith, I think it's Griffith. Anyway, this was a project that she showed, but I had seen this card several years before, and I always thought it was stunning, and I kept saying, I want to try this, I want to try this. So I finally did. So glad I did, because it is beautiful. It does have a magnet closure. We're going to use this color palette. I'm going to sit this one over to the side. We're going to use Night of Navy, Basic White, Seaside Spray, and this is a piece of paper from this is in the Sale-a-bration. You cannot buy this pack of paper. It is a free pack with a $50 order, and it's called Paper Blooms. And this paper is gorgeous. Now that was just one sheet out of here, but I'm going to flip through this and show you. There's one with the Rococo Rose. I'll get it out. But you can see the Rococo Rose, the Seaside Spray, the Night of Navy, of course the white, the Rococo Rose. Just look how gorgeous this paper is. I fell in love with it. This is what we're using today. And those beautiful circles, isn't that pretty? That can make a card all by itself. And they did make an announcement, or they posted it in the Sale-a-bration catalog, that this went with the perennial stamps and dies, but that's not so much true. It actually goes with the In Bloom and the Pierced Bloom. It coordinates with that much better. So that's what I'm going to use today. I'm going to use this color palette. I'm going to lay this over to the side because I've got pieces already cut. I'm going to be using the Pierced Blooms, the Stitch Shapes, and I've already taken some of those out, and the Layering Circles. So those are my dies that I'm going to be using. And my stamp sets, In Bloom. I'm not sure if I'm going to use any of this. This is a photopolymer stamp set. It is beautiful, and I have used it quite a bit because I love that stamp set. Also, here's a card because I want to make this a birthday card, and I just love that happy birthday. Alright, I'm going to bring over, and this is going to look very intimidating. One more thing before we go any further. We are coming up on the end of the month, but this host code is still valid. Also, through the end of January, so through Sunday, anyone that spends $75 or more in my store, not only will you get the free hostess gift as a thank you, you will also be entered in a drawing to win the So Much Happy stamp set and Happy dies. And you will love that stamp set and die set. It is like about a $47 value. So if you have been interested in getting some products this month, you have to have a purchase of at least $75 and use that host code, and you will be in the drawing. And I will draw that on Monday, February the 1st. I'll make sure that I do that early that morning, and I'll announce the winner here on YouTube. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and get started on this card. I left out my dies to show you which dies I used. And this is the largest in the stitched shapes. This is next to the largest in the stitched shapes. And this is in the layering circle dies. This is the largest scallop. So that'll make it easy for you to know which dies were used. And I'm going to just lay those over out of my way. And I'm going to lay all of these pieces just over out of my way, and we'll get to them a little bit at a time. I'm starting off with a sheet of Whisper White. I'm sorry, Basic White. We no longer have Whisper White. It is Basic White. And I'm going to cut this down, and we need this piece to be an 8 by 8 square. So I'm going to set my trimmer right here, and I'm going to bring it to 8. And we're going to do a little slice up, and then I'm going to turn it this way and take it to 8. And we're going to have that little 1/2 inch off over here. Alright, so now that we have our 8 by 8 inch piece, we are going to put this back into our trimmer. Put your cut blade down to the bottom or the top, whichever way you have yours on, and bring this to 4 inches. Now, if you do not have this particular trimmer, you can take this to your school board and score it, but you're going to have to bring it back and cut. So for me, it's just easier to do it here. I don't have to bring out another tool. And we're going to score all the way down, and then we're going to turn it and put it on 4 inches. So basically you're scoring it 4 inches on one side, turn it a 1/2 turn, and score again. So now, if you can see, you have 4-inch squares. So we're going to put that back in on the 4, and what we want to do is slice up to this 4-inch mark. So I'm going to close my blade down, and you've got little guides right here, and sometimes if you take a piece of darker paper, no, that's not working, you can actually see it right here. Let me zoom y'all in just a little bit to see if that's going to help you see this. I'm going to bring this up, and if you can see the 4-inch mark right here, I'm going to cut up to that mark. Now I want to be really careful. I want to make sure that I'm lined up on 4 inches over here, and I want to slice up just up to that score line, which is at 4. And that's all I'm going to do. And I'm going to lift this up. And now you can see, let me zoom you back out. You can see now that we have this piece cut up to that score line. Now all we want to do is fold and burnish. And I'm going to move my trimmer out of our way so that we can do this. And we're going to need our trusty little bone folder. So you want to kind of fold this in both directions because you really want to get this folded down really good. And you're going to fold all the pieces up. And when you fold them, try to make sure that they're squared up as best as you can. That will make your card come together so much better. And it will just look better when it's sitting and when it's folded. So just square up those corners like that. And fold. And then we're going to fold it this way. And burnish that down. Just like that. So now we have our card. We've got one other score that we need to make. We need to score in an angle from this fold line at the very top down to this one. So you can do that in your scoreboard, or you can do it in your trimmer / score. And what I'm going to do is I am going to, let's see, it's got to go on this, it goes from, alright, let's make sure we get this right. It goes from the top middle down to the bottom right on the one to the right. So just lay it in, get that right where you need it and hold it, and then just pivot. Pivot this one around to where you are lined up completely straight. And once you are, close that down and just score. And that will give you that fold. Now you're going to turn it in the opposite direction for this one because you want this one to fold this way. So again, I'm going to line that up, and I'm going to hold it, and then I'm going to pivot this piece around to where that is in my track. I'm going to close it down and then score that. So simple. It really is a very simple card to make once you get the process. There's a lot of pieces, and I won't lie about that. There are a lot of pieces. But now what you want to do is fold this, give it a good crease, and then bring it back up, and then lay this one over, crease it, and watch this. Here's your card. How simple was that? Now you want to make sure that you're crossing this right hand bottom piece over top of that left hand bottom piece. But this is the way your card is going to sit. Alright, we got to get some mats on it. That's the very next thing we're going to do. So in my matting process, what I did is I cut 2 squares out of a Seaside Spray, and let's see, and let's make sure these are right. Yeah, these are cut at 3 3/4 by 3 3/4, and if you notice, they are going to fit with that little border right around the top there. So all we got to do now with these is slice them in half, as well as these little floral pieces. So let's bring our trimmer back up. So simple, so easy. You just follow it like that, and when you're looking at it, think about your 4-inch squares, and that's what we're decorating. For me, that makes it a lot easier for me to get it. So, and you know, numbers are hard. So I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to hold that with my finger, and I'm going to pivot this around into that track so I have a complete perfect. I'm going to move that score blade out because this time we are cutting, not scoring. So I'm just going to slice up like that, 2 pieces. And we'll do it again with this one. I'm going to hold that into the track, making sure it's right where I want it. Then I'm going to pivot this one around, just like so. I'll put my cut blade down in the middle, slice up and down. And now we're going to do the same thing for these. Now these are cut a little bit different. These are 3.5 by 3.5 because they're going to layer on top of that. So they're 1/4 inch smaller than our other pieces. So I hope that makes sense to everybody. So what I'm going to do is I am going to put this in the track, pivot this around into the track, bring my cut blade up so it's kind of in the middle, lock it down and slice. And we've got our triangles for that piece. And we're going to do the same thing again, put it in the track, pivot this piece around. And once you do this a few times, it will be so easy and like second nature. No problem whatsoever. Alright, the next thing we need to do is put all of our little triangles together. So we've got all these little triangles, and it doesn't really matter which way you put them. I'm going to do them with glue, because it's easier to have that little bit of wiggle room, but you can see this is the way they're going to go together. They are going to go on with just the ever so slight border, just like this. I'm just going to lay them all out for you, then I'm going to go off camera and glue these down so you don't have to sit and watch me glue. And then we'll come back and we'll put them on a card. But just like that, each piece has its own little frame. Isn't that pretty? I love those blues together. I think they're just gorgeous. Okay, we'll be right back. Let me get these all glued down. Alright, I wanted to show y'all something I found in gluing these down. You know, we always learn a technique after we do something. Let me zoom y'all in just a little bit. What I found that worked really good for me is if I just put glue on this outside edge, end, if I hold it to the point, getting my point lined up, everything else just kind of falls into place. To me, that was just easier and a really easy way to get those straight. My first one didn't go on as straight as I would like. I mean, it's okay, but the rest of them, once I got that technique down, worked really better. So I thought I'll come back on and show y'all that last one and just let you see how that worked for me. So we're ready now to put these onto our card. So these are going to go like right here and here, and of course here and here. So aren't those cute? I love that floral. I think it's so pretty. And we're going to decorate with some flowers and things, so it's going to make everything really pop once we get it all together. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to go off camera, but I'm going to glue these all on, and I'm going to do that same process. I'm going to bring them this way, and I'm going to put it down just like that, getting my border, and know that it's correct. So we'll be right back. Alright, we got those all on. Let me zoom back out a little bit so we can see the entire picture. Alright, so now when we fold this over, we're seeing this beautiful pattern paper like that. So we're not going to do anything too busy down here. These pieces we are going to do, I want a dark blue piece here. But before we start putting our mats on, let's do our magnets. And I do need to grab my magnets. And I purchased these offline. These are just little craft magnets, and you have a plus and a negative. So you want one of each. When you pop them out, you want a negative and a positive. And the little boogers do like to attract to each other. And if you notice, these do have glue already on them. But we are going to add a glue dot just for safety's sake. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my take your pick tool. And I'm going to take off this protective coating it actually is covering up the adhesive, but I want to make sure this card's going to last. You don't want to give a card to somebody and then it fall apart. So I always like to add, and it's got a good amount of stick to that, but I want to make sure that what it's going to adhere to. And what we're going to do is we're going to close this up like this, and this bottom corner right here is where I want my magnet to go. So I'm going to lay that over, and just so I don't forget exactly where I want it to go, I'm just going to make myself a little X, and that's going to be on the right bottom, about a half an inch, maybe a quarter of an inch in on both directions. And let's get a glue dot. Even though that's pretty sticky, I still want to just make sure that this is going to adhere. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the magnet to the glue dot and just press, and that came right up and onto there. So now I want to put this magnet right where I made that little X at. Nobody's going to see this, so that's all good. Now once I get that done, I'm going to take this backer off of this side. Okay, and then we're going to put our glue dot on top of that one. So I'm just going to take the magnet to the glue dot, and I'm going to lay it down right over. I'll get this turned where I can see what I'm doing. Just like that, and I'm going to sit it right on top of it. Well, I got it on there, but it separated my battery, so I just put them back together. So now what you want to do is bring your card back around so that you have your front facing, and you're just going to fold that up like you were going to put it together. Now your batteries, I always call these things batteries and I don't know why. Your magnets are going to be well hidden underneath here. And the good thing is we are going to put designer series paper or cardstock over top of this so nothing's going to show. And we're going to have a nice magnet to hold that together. Isn't that cool? I love cards with magnets on them. I don't know what it is, but I just do. So now we're going to go ahead and take this piece, and this is going to go over top of this, just like that. And we're going to have another white piece. Actually, this, you know, it doesn't really matter as long as you got a square. But I've got this one already on here. And we want to put a message on this side. If you noticed on this one, we have a message here, but when you open the card, there's also a message underneath. And that's the same principle that I want to have for this one. So I'm going to use some of my Stampin' Seal. Let's move this over here. Maybe I don't want to put Stampin' Seal on it first. Let's stamp first, and let's see what we want to say. I love the I made you a card because you're worth it. That's like one of my favorite things to put on a birthday card, and I think I'm going to do it on this one. I made you a card because you're worth it. I love that. And then of course we're going to use that happy birthday. And let's get a stamp block. You can't very well stamp without a block. Am I correct? So I'm going to grab this one. And I'm going to load this up on my stamp block, making sure I got everything nice and straight. Let me grab a little piece of grid paper. I like to have something to be able to stamp off on in case I, want to. And I love my little grid paper. It's just so convenient. All right. I'm going to turn it this way. And I think I've told y'all this before, but you know when you cut your paper, you have that little bit of a curl that your paper just makes that little beveled edge. If you don't like that beveled edge, take a bone folder and just press that out. It will iron out just like you're ironing a shirt. So, just press that out, and it really does make your paper lay better. I've gotten in the habit where I really like to do that with all my cardstock, and it's a little bit more time consuming, but you know what? We're making these items for someone special, more than likely, so why not put that little bit of effort in making it extra special? So I got my Memento Tuxedo Black. And remember I told y'all I re-inked this? It is so juicy. So I'm going to stamp right there to make sure. And it's looking good, so maybe some of that ink has settled down in there. Yep, that looks good. So I made you a card because you're worth it. And we're going to stamp that right there. Love it. Alright, let's pull out my Stampin' Scrub because you know me, y'all have been around me long enough to know that I have to clean my stamps as I go, at least to get a little bit of that ink off of them, and I need a little bit of Stampin' Nest, and this is our stamp cleaner, and I'm just going to spray a couple of squirts of that on my Stampin' Scrub. Beautifully cleaned and ready to go. Alright, so I'm going to take this piece and turn it over. Let's go ahead and close up that ink because we will need that again in just a minute, along with the happy birthday. Alright, I'm going to use my Stampin' Seal on this one, and I'm just going to get it started. some little pieces all the way around, close to the edge. One in the middle just to hold it. Now I'm going to bring this over and I'm going to line it up and press it down. Now that piece is ready to go, and that piece is going to go right here and cover up the magnet. So I'm going to use a little bit of the pressing seal on my magnet, and I'm going to put a little bit inside the card. And then I'm going to bring this piece, I'm going to also use liquid glue on here because I want to make sure that this piece gets adhered really good. And the liquid glue will give us that and then we can pop that in right there. If this piece looks like it wants to raise a little bit, just come up underneath it and put a little bit more glue around that magnet, and then just press that down. You might need to hold it for just a minute and let it adhere, but it's okay, it will work. Now this piece on this side, we are going to use a blue mat. I'm wondering if I want to do a dark blue mat here, just to make that a little bit special. I think I am. I think I'm going to cut a 3 3 3/4 by 3 3/4 mat. Thought I had this card all thought out, but evidently I didn't, because I was thinking I wanted to use a little bit more blue on it. So 3 3/4 by 3 3/4. And this is going to go right here. I'm going to iron these little edges out like I told you. And if y'all hear my little dogs, they are snoring. My little Bella, she's always snoring. Okay, that piece is going to go right there, and I'm going to use the Stampin' Seal for this as well. And now what I want to do is just get this nice and lined up. Just like that. Now we are going to start building our piece. Now I have one piece here that we're going to need to die cut, and I left this one out for that reason. This is our piece that is 3.5 by 6, and it is scored at 3 4 3/8. So you have it in, like, you put it into your scoreboard like this. You're going to score it in half at 3 because it's 6 inches, and then you're going to score it at 4 3/4. So the only thing we're going to do right now is fold it on that 3-inch score line, and I'm going to go ahead and crease this down really good. We are going to use that larger stitched circle die. And what you want to do with this, let me move the card over here. you are going to put this down onto your piece, and you're going to be cutting through both pieces, but you want that circle to be peeking over the edge so it doesn't cut that top edge. Just ever so slightly. And I got something on my card, look like glue. I might have had something sticky right here. Okay, so what you want to do is get it on here, center it, making sure from side to side it's even, and then just slide it up until you can see just a tiny little bit up underneath there, just to make sure it doesn't cut right there. So once I get it, now I'll tell you what I like to do. When I'm working with something that is maybe a little more tedious, I like to bring my cut plate. And don't look at my nasty cut plate. It is well loved. I like to bring it to the plate and then lay it down where I want it. And you know why I like to do that? Because then I can take my piece, my little flags, and I can tape this down right on the cut plate, and then I can put my other plate over top of it, and it's ready to go into my die machine. I already have my other two plates on, my 1 and 2, and now my 2 3s, and I'm going to crank that through. And I cranked it through and then brought it back, and I'll tell you why I did that. I did that because, and here's the piece, I didn't take it off because I want you to see what I was talking about. So I'm going to pull the tape off, my little flags, and then lift this up and then peel this piece back, and now we have that little mechanism that's going to be in there for our pop-up card. See that? So we have our score line right here on the front, and that's where you want it. So just press that down. Go ahead and give it a good burnish. And this is going to be our mechanism for our little piece that sits up in the middle. And that just works so much easier than, you know, trying to cut a circle and make sure. To me, this just worked much easier. Alright, so let's bring our card back over. I also cut another piece just like that, that's going to go on the front of this to give you that. This is cut the same size as this circle, but what you're going to do, you're only going to glue half of it. So what you're going to do is just put adhesive on this. So I'm going to use liquid glue because I want wiggle room, and I'm just going to put liquid glue on this part of it. And then I'm going to bring this piece to my glue, and I'm going to even that up and just make sure it's sandwiched, just like that. And then I'm going to press it down. Okay, so there is our little focal point. Now we have one more piece to this, and this is the white circle that was cut smaller than this. See, it's one size down, and this is what we're going to put Happy Birthday on. So here's our Happy Birthday stamp. So put my top back on my glue and get I think I'll use that same block since it's already here. And I'm going to use my mat here because I got a straight line, making sure that Happy Birthday is nice and straight. And I was just checking because when you die cut pieces that have stitch line, you do have a right and a wrong side, and I wanted to make sure I have the right side. And then I'm going to grab my Memento ink. Let's bring my grid paper back over. Stamped really pretty, so I'm going to go ahead this time and commit. Now I'm going to do Happy Birthday down just a little bit in the center, but down just a hair. I want to have room to put some flowers on here. Very, very nice. I'm going to clean my stamp. think I need to activate my cleaner with just a tiny bit of water. A little squirt of water. Very good. Now those two are done. And let's I need one more stitched piece to go here, and that is the bigger piece, like that. But I'm wondering if I don't want to do it out of the dark blue. I think I want to try that in the dark. So let's revisit our dies. And that's this one right here. I'm going to go ahead and just cut it out of the dark blue just for the heck of it. And then there's our dark. Now that I think about it, I thought that would really pop on there, but it kind of gets lost, so no, we're not going to do that. I'll save that for another card. What we're going to do is we're going to use this piece, and we're going to glue that onto that scalloped piece. And again, I'm going to use liquid glue because I want to wiggle that into place, because you don't have a whole lot of room there. You just want that scallop to show ever so slightly. So a little bit of liquid glue, and I'm going to hold this up and just wiggle it around. Once I'm satisfied with it, then I'll lay it down and give it a good press. Now that's going to go right there, and your little mechanism is going to go right over top of it. So before we do anything else, we want to, what did I do with my little, here it is. This piece is going to go on here, and of course that's going to center right there in the middle. So again, liquid glue. And you want to make sure that you're getting this one right in the center, because you don't want your happy birthday to be askew. Okay, I think that looks good. Nope. There we go. And now that's going to sit up like that on this piece. So let's go ahead and adhere this to this. And I could have skipped that step. I realize that now, because this is going to fit right over top of that. But that's okay. It's just going to give it a little added dimension, which is not a bad thing. So once I get that on there like I want it, I'm going to do my little ironing again. And then that's going to go in like this. Now we're going to close our card, and we want this to sit at an angle just like that. So you want to make sure that this is sitting exactly where you want it, in the center. before you glue it down. So I'm going to take some liquid glue, and I'm using a good amount because I want to make sure that this is exactly where I want it when I set it down. And see how cute that card's coming together? Now we got to decorate with some flowers, and we got to put a stop right here. And this card will be ready. And that's not going to take us long because what I did is I pre-cut a bunch of the flowers from the Pierce Bloom die set. And we are going to dump them all out right here. Even the tiny ones, they got stuck to the glue on this little packaging piece. That's okay. We'll peel them off. And we're going to see which ones we want to put where. Now, I want to do a sort of a, maybe this medium one would look really cute right there. And let's give it a little bit of a decorative middle. Maybe like that. Okay, I like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this together, and I'm going to use the putty side of my Take Your Pick tool. And this is where this little tool end comes in. So handy. It's such a neat tool to have because it does so much. So I'm going to pick that up and sit it right there in the middle. And now we need some dimensionals. And let's see, I think I got some that are used under here. Yep, I do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this over, and I will put one dimensional right there under the bottom and pull that off. Put that top back on that glue before we have a mess. And now I am going to bring this card back over because I want y'all to see. I'm going to move that up, but I want this flower to act as my stopper. That's why I put the dimensional on it. And we'll press that down, and now see how that flower is acting as the stop for our easel? And isn't that cute? Alright, we're not going to stop there because we're going to need maybe one right there. And let's see, we're going to put some flowers up in here. Let's put some middles in these. I wonder if one of these little middles would work for that one. Not too big. Yep. We're just going to do a couple of these little ones like they got scattered about. So again, we are going to use our glue. And I'm just going to put a dot of glue right there. Just a tiny little bit. It doesn't take much. And I'm going to pick this flower up and sit it down right there. And press it. Now we need a couple of flowers. Maybe like this one. I love these little flowers. They're so whimsical. They're so cute. Now I'm going to take that one and put it right in the middle of this one. And I'm kind of keeping my theme with the three colors that I chose. If you do that, things will be much easier. Alright, so we're going to put this one right here on our happy birthday. So for this one at no dimension, I'm just going to put some glue on the back of it. And I'm going to put that right there. And then maybe one of these little ones. Maybe right there, with maybe a white center in it. Or how about one of these little tiny blue flowers in the middle of that? That'd be cute. So I'm going to lay that down. And then I'm just going to set that down into there. Oh, that's cute. I love it. And I'm going to bring this piece over and I'm going to put my glue right there. And set that into the glue. Now all we have to do is do a little bit of decorating up here and this card will be ready. Ready and done. Alright, this one needs a little piece in the middle. Do we want white? I think I want that white one there. And then we're going to put a blue one on this one. And these flowers don't cut like they're perfect. Even your centers, or see how the circle right there is a little off? They're made that way to have that whimsical look. And I love that look. I think it's so pretty. Now I'm not going to pop this up on dimensionals. I'm just going to put some glue on the back because I don't want to add any more bulk. I'm going to put this one maybe right here and maybe a blue one with a little white place in it. So cute. I just love these flowers. This particular die set has absolutely, and the stamps, has become one of my favorites. And I'm going to show y'all how to make paper, make your own designer paper with these flowers, with the stamps, because it is just, it's adorable. Alright, so I am putting that down right there. Just like that. Now we need to come over on this side, and this one I think I'm going to put the bigger flower at the top. And put that in right there. Aren't those pretty? And this one is going to go right about there. I love this one. I think I'll put both of these big ones over on this side, and I may put one of these right here. And we could always put one or two in here. I mean, you know, I don't think you can do an overkill with this one because it's just too stinking cute. Let's put that one right there. Okay. We've just about got this card done. So that's going to go there. And this one maybe right there. And then we're going to take this little one and he's going to go right here. And you can also toss some of these around where it looks like the blooms have come off and dropped here and there, just by sticking them down. And we still have this little one. Let's see. Thinking I want that piece on this one. And put that one right there. And I do think I'm going to drop one here and one back there just to jazz up that paper. So I'm going to turn this around like this. I'll tell you what, let's open this up. I think that'll make it easier. Let's put one there, and I want another one right about there. So I'm going to use this white middle for that one. So let's put a little glue. Put that in there. A little glue on the back. And put that down. right there. Now, I think we can call this card completely done. And oh my goodness, is that not the cutest? Now, I am going to wipe my top of my glue off. I think that will, if I start doing that, oops, it's like my little lid has come undone. There we go. I'm going to screw that down. My glue's all done. Let's move all this stuff out of our way. And let's take a look at this beautiful, beautiful birthday card. Isn't that just the cutest thing? I love it. I don't think the camera does this one justice. I really, really don't. It is just so cute. So, so cute. And when you get ready to send it, this will fold up just like this and fit into an envelope. And that to me is the magic. Now you might have to put some instructions, but I think once they open it, they will see that it goes just like this. How cute is that? I sure hope that y'all enjoyed this video this morning or today. And I hope this would be something that you would maybe like to try. If you would, I'm going to have all of the measurements, everything that you need to cut in the description. And again, I'm having trouble with my blog again. I've got an email out for them to get back in touch with me. I am really getting fed up with that because I get so behind on my blog, but I do make sure that everything is in the description of the video, so you can actually copy and paste that and print it out if you need to, so that you will have the instructions on how to make this. So thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for taking the time to be here with me. May God bless and keep you, and as I always say in closing, let everything that you do and say bring glory to our Father in heaven, for He is so worthy. God bless you, and until we craft again, I love you all. Bye-bye.